special thanks and blessings to the Faith is the Key community, Prophet Zen, and everybody that was within that community for speaking the word of God over my life for, the coming community. Reminding me again that God was going to put me in community. It was so good to serve with you.
Oh, me. Yes, it was awesome to serve again. First time for you.
Yeah, we were doing this popcorn. How do I turn the camera again?
This is going on the live.
No, it's not live.
Let me go. I gotta run out.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
I'm waiting.
Because it is.
We are serving for Salem's live nativity, and we are closing up. Very Christmas and festive mood.
This is how I thank the Lord for everything that He has done.
Amen.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Good job, guys.
Stay warm.
I've attended my first Christmas event for the month. It was exciting. It was at Salem Church on Staten Island. And it was good. It was cold outside, but it was good. It was lovely. I had the opportunity to serve at the popcorn machine with Brooke. Shout out to Brooke. This is just a short story about community and how I was fighting God about community, basically. It took me some time to realize I was fighting Him. Anyway, because when I first came to the family of God and being on Staten Island, being in the church that I went to, I was always looking for a community of, younger believers to be with, to know how they also thought, to know everything. But I had to wait 4 years before God was like, all right, yeah, now you can go into community. 4 years, Lord, come on now. 4 years. 4 years to me, I had just become deflated, And so when the opportunity came, that God was like, all right, now it's time to go. I was still at that place, or I might still be at that place where I'm catching up to, okay, wait, God, community is here, and it doesn't matter if when I wanted to be in community, you said that, you asked me to wait, or you didn't give me the place to be in, and now that it's here, I'm catching up. I feel like I'm not ready when I thought I was ready. You didn't do it. Now I feel like I'm not ready, and you're like, do it, and I'm like, I'm catching up, right? Why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because it's part of the things that God has done for me. It's part of the things that God has restored in my life. And for me, it's a reminder that He will do what He said He will do. Right? I remember becoming born again and deciding that, I've seen the truth about Christ. Now let me go sit in a church and really hear it and see the difference between when I was an unbeliever and now. Like, how does it really feel to know the truth about Christ? Anyway, so I'm looking for a church. I come across the church that I just talked about where the live nativity was, Salem. And I'm like, I'm going to go on Sunday. Plans. At that time, I didn't have a job. And so my cousin had the unlimited Metro card. So I borrowed it. Guys, the day comes and I walk to the bus stop and I'm like, let me prepare the card because this bus is approaching. Check my pocket. What? No card? Man, where had this card fallen? Only God knew. Trace my steps, nothing, no card. I start getting hysterical, crying. I'm like, Lord, all I'm trying to do is go to church. All of that stuff. And then I call my dad and I'm like, yeah, this is what has happened. Man, I don't have a job. How am I going to pay my cousin back? At that time, that card cost $150. So yeah, I was all over the place. So my dad told me, he was like, you know what? Take a step back. Don't let the enemy frustrate you. Take a step back and just take your time, and God will lead you to the right place, at the right time. So I listened. So I was taking a walk one day and I saw a sign that was talking about Bible study. And I was like, oh, I'm going to come to Bible study. Backtrack. This place where I saw the sign is where I currently go to church at. Cool. Please keep in mind, I'm still talking about Salem, but please, there's going to be a connection. Bear with me. So keep in mind Salem. So I didn't go to Salem again, but I've seen this sign for Bible study, and I go to the Bible study, and that place becomes my church. Backtrack times 2. When I also became born again, before I decided I want to find a church to go worship at or whatever, back home in Ghana, we worship on Christmas Day. We go to church maybe in the morning. I don't know if things have changed, but when I remember as a little girl, we used to go to church on Christmas Day and then come and spend time with family or do whatever. So it was Christmas Day and I'm like, wait, let me see if I can find a church to go to as well. Celebrate. Man, I was so desperate. I started Googling. I'm like, churches near me. This one. I saw my church's name that I go to right now, True Vine. I'm like, this church, where is it? I was never seeing. I was like, where is this church? It said it's only, for example, 0.1 mile, because I was close to the church, but I wasn't seeing the building. 0.1 miles, 0.1 mile away. I'm like, where is this church? Where is it? I never found that church that day. It was when I was taking that walk and I saw the sign that said Bible study. I was like, oh my God, this is a True Vine church that I couldn't find. So I started going to that church. When I went to the Bible study, and then I was like, oh wow, I believe this is home. So, boom. Now back to Salem. 4 years down the line, I go to what used to be called Mustard Seed, a coffee shop. It's now called Redemption Coffee. I go there. I'm like, oh, let me just do a little Bible study. This was in April. Let me do a little Bible study. And I'm there chilling, doing Bible study. And this young Filipino man walks in the coffee shop and he buys a drink, a purple drink. And I'm like, yo, that drink looks good. Let me just talk to him. No, before that. Sorry, I'm all over the place, but I just remember this. Before that, when I noticed the drink and I was like, that looks good. There was this what do I call it? A prompting. Yeah, that's what I'll call it. A prompting that was like, wait, Lord, isn't it time for me to be in community? That was just like a question I asked God. It was a prompting I had. It was a question I asked him when I looked at the young man come into the coffee store. So, mind you, I had just written in my journal about, how it's going to be 5 years with me and the Lord this year, how I'm going to be 30, and how, God saved me on my birthday. Like, Lord, what are we doing for our anniversary? Things like that. I was having that reflection with him. And I looked at the young man. I'm like, wait, isn't it time for me to be in community? I just had that feeling. So then now I was like, let me ask about this drink. So although I felt like it was time for me to be in community, my motive for asking about the drink was really to ask about the drink, right? Guys, so I asked about the drink. Me and him started talking, and then he was asking what I'm doing. I told him I'm studying. We started going back and forth. He was telling me about the different communities on Staten Island that have like different young adults, and he told me about the one at Salem. I'm like, wasn't that the church I was trying to go to when I first became born again and I lost the card? So he told me about it. I'm like, oh, I have to visit. Right? So I joined the young adults. What's it called? Young adult community. That's what it's called. YA. And I didn't need to ask for confirmation because I was like, yo, at that time, although I had lost the card, it was actually preparing me for this time where I would just be in community, although I had to wait 4 years, right? So when I joined the community, joined and everything, but guys, my hiding spirits came out. I was like, yo, going out every time. I just want to be home. I just want to be left alone, and all these things. But shout outs to people like Bethany, people like Shannon, people like Arun, Rachel, people that, Shadina. Shout out to Shadina too. That push you to be in community. Shout out to Bethany. Thank you, Bethany. Thank you. Push you to be in community. So I recently came to the resolve that, wait a minute, God, I became hard-hearted about being in community, because I felt like when I thought I was ready, you didn't put me in, and now I don't feel ready, but you're saying it's time. It's hard for me to submit to it. And it's a thing I was honest about with God. I was like, okay, you're teaching me how to submit to you, but now I know I have an issue with submitting to community. But going back to like being pushed, it's a process. I'm starting to submit to community. I'm starting. And so, this story, during this time, in Christmas, for the live nativity event, is a reminder that God will do what He said He would do, no matter the time. Lord, take it easy on the time though, but hey, He will do it. He will do it. He will do it.